So yeah, I mean, overall, kind of a weird day today. I didn't really notice that everything sold off as much as it did. I mean, like the first hour, like I get it, whatever. But coming back to the markets, like checking my phone later in the day, it was almost like nothing stopped selling off. I mean, there were some things that were a little bit stronger, a little bit more flat than others. But you come back to it and it was a bigger sell off than I thought. Nice, Duco. Well, who in here traded Boeing with me today? It's not like a flashy trade like that I usually do, but it ended up working out. Yeah, that Microsoft loss, I mean, I don't know how many contracts you guys bought, but I only bought one and I lost about $80, $90. So, if you went in with more than that, it's kind of up to you, of course, right? But yeah, I had a little trouble filling on that too, Chag. So I ended up selling market as well. But yeah, I mean, 90 to $100 on that. I mean, percentage wise, it's pretty. I mean, I guess you consider it big percentage wise, but again, it's like $100 loss is very, very, very reasonable. Carrie, there you go. I mean, see that is what I'd be looking for, right? You lose 95 on Netflix and make 220 on Boeing. Boeing should have easily made up for a Netflix loss today. I was a little aggressive on it, but like I told you guys this morning, I was planning to do that. Netflix, if it's going to make a move, it was going to go crazy. Let's just go to the chart real quick. I mean, I was looking for a break of 705 and 708, and that's what I was going to be adding up in here. Then I thought this could, go 715. If it did that, that's an easy, 2 or 3, 200%. I think we could have made, even if it was 100%, but you bought 3 or 4 contracts, right? It would have made up for $100 loss. And that was, to me, what I was willing to risk on a starter position. Right. So, I mean, you guys that have seen my live trading, you could see me make a couple $100, sometimes even, $1,000, $2,000, $3,000. So $100 loss for me is reasonable. And no one wants to lose money. But I also know that some people can't buy 10 contracts, right? They're only looking to buy, 1 or 2. And then I signal a starter position and you want to get involved, but your whole position maybe is 2 contracts, and then you end up getting smoked. But those 720 calls were only, I think, what, $200, $250. So worst case scenario, you lost 100% of those $250. And, obviously that means more to some people than others. And, that's why I never really want to get in a P&L much, but it's more of the risk factor there. What were you willing to risk on that? I was willing to risk 50% on a starter position. Right? I was looking to get in around 10 contracts. So for me to buy one, I'm in 10% of my position size, and then risking, 25, 50. I didn't know what I was willing to risk there, other than if it goes under 700, I know the trade's probably done. And right when it did that, you get out. If this was a day where you just start buying and buying and buying on dips, I mean, this moved $25, almost $30 from 700. So I've been in trades like that before. I've been the guy who's continued to buy a dip, over and over again, thinking there's got to be a balance. The setup's too good. And then I'm in with 3 times as much as you want to be in with. And just like Netflix here today, it never bounced. There was little relief bounces for like, $2, $3, and then it would roll over again and drop 10. right? So that's where you get screwed. So it's so much easier just taking your stop loss where you planned on having it and then moving on. Because we could have easily, if that came under 700, we stopped out, consolidated a little bit, got back above 700, got some real good buying volume, and it broke through that high a day. You could have bought 3 contracts or whatever. Goes through 705. I bet it goes probably straight through 708. And then, we have all-time high right there at 711. You're in with 3 times as much. You're already up $200-$300. And then, you can start adding into it even more. So honestly, there's been a decent amount of fake outs. Honestly, I mean, I've probably, typically, I don't have many red trades, a month, but right now it seems like there's been a lot of fake outs. So when that happens, that's why I like to take smaller positions early, because I can test out the trade, have a little bit of a position, and then look to add into it and then really try to catch something big. Tesla last week was pretty good on that. I'll get in a Boeing for sure. That was a kind of a spur of the moment trade for me. It's not something that I trade a lot. I'm sure you guys have heard me say it. I might trade Boeing, 3 times a year. And this wasn't something that was planned. Honestly, I think Chris is here. I think, he brought it to my attention this morning, and it looked interesting, right? So, I mean, sometimes it's really that simple. Not really looking for anything, not really paying that much attention, maybe not as much attention as I should. And notice Boeing's down quite a bit. Quickly look at the chart. Nice. We'll see. But guys, that's the beauty of trading with other people. And that's why, I learned that from being on the trading floor is, you get in trouble if you don't talk to everyone and throw ideas out there, because it may help you make money and it may help the firm make money. Maybe you're an amateur trader and you pitch the idea of this trade from some random little news that you saw or whatever. It doesn't matter if it's Boeing or XYZ or ABC, it doesn't matter what stock it is. You pitch it to a good trader and they're like, that's interesting, because a lot of the times they'll just instantly like it, right? It doesn't take a whole lot of thought to realize, okay, this actually makes sense. Boom, let's focus on it. What can we do? How is it trading? Cool, I like it. Let's go. And that's what happened today. So round of applause to Chris and Tig Breezy if they're both here. But so I mean, Boeing today, again, it wasn't really something that I had. Let me go to Netflix real quick just so you guys can see what I was looking at. Then I'm going to look at, go to Boeing and show you what I liked. So obviously, Netflix was opening around 700. The market was down this morning, pre-market, and I thought, okay, that's interesting. Netflix is actually holding up. It doesn't really move much after hours or pre-market, but considering it's right here next to this level, I do kind of like it. And what you can see here pretty easily is we're kind of in like a consolidation area. Is it perfect? No, I would almost consider it like a weird looking bull flag thing. But we're opening here. So I knew that if we broke 705 to 708-ish, we're starting to break out of this consolidation zone. And this, to me, is somewhat of an A+ setup. But then again, today was a good example of an A+ setup not playing out. And luckily, we had a perfect level to trade off of, which was 700. We wanted to see it push. We got honestly, some pretty decent volume and some good strength off the open. Took a really small position, knowing my stop loss is right here at low a day. That's kind of the beauty of understanding an opening range break, right? You're looking for the upside, you get a little aggressive off the open, and then you get an opening range break against you. Well, that's a perfect place to stop out, because on the other hand, if we're looking for an opening range break, then, we actually use that as a momentum, something to use for momentum in whatever direction you're wanting. Right. So plus you have 700 level to use as well. So, it was to me, it was a good loss. I would take that trade 10 times out of 10. Maybe I was a little aggressive, but I used correct sizing. So I didn't run into any problems. But anyways, that's what I was looking at on Netflix. So let's go to Boeing. Honestly, Chris, what was the news on that? I didn't even look into it, but without even knowing what the news was specifically, the stock closed at 174. We're opening here around 167. So I knew there was something going on. And Boeing, yeah, I know. I mean, I know something happened last week, but to me, like this had to have happened over the weekend. Let me look. I think they got downgraded by someone. Oh wait, there was a strike too. I think the news was there's a strike that may happen. It was downgraded to sell. I mean, I saw that. Oh, here we go. Yeah. Boeing shares dip in pre-market as 32,000 workers plan company's first strike in 16 years. See, that's solid news. That's solid news. So I remember that now. So I saw that there was a strike. Someone said that, or at least a planned strike. And I don't know if you guys remember when the UPS, the mailing people had a strike. I think it was 2 years ago. I remember it because I traded it. That was a different kind of trade, though, actually, which may end up playing into Boeing. Because typically, what happens with strikes? They go on for a little bit. Maybe they're planned for a little while. Initially, when that news comes out, the stock will fall, right? That it kind of just makes like logical sense. Maybe it falls for 1 day, 2 days, maybe 3 days. Let's just even get crazy and say that it falls for a week. Yeah, we're talking about Boeing. But from, at least from what I know, strikes tend, no matter how long they tend to actually get resolved. And I know one specifically because I actually got to trade it. It was the UPS strike. And I think that was 2 years ago. It was during the summer, and I think it was 2 years ago. So I'm going to kind of go on a little bit of a tangent here, but this is kind of where psychology is going to play into it. So let's say the stock drops for 1, 2, 3 days, even a week. Okay. After that, there's going to be negotiations. Do you want more pay? Do you want this? How much is the government going to give them? Blah, 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 blah. It'll go on for maybe a month, maybe 2 months, maybe 6 months. I don't know. But that's kind of where you keep up with that news. What I remember from UPS, and actually what I remember from talking to other traders, because I was at the trading firm when that happened, they're saying this is going to get negotiated out for a little while. They don't know how long, but it's not going to take years or whatever, because you need people to work at Boeing. You needed people to work at UPS. No matter what it is, like if Walmart went on strike, right? Like they need employees there. So the executive's job is to resolve it. Anyways, so stock falls for a little while, and then you're going to get to negotiations. The stock is going to start climbing a little bit. Maybe it trades sideways a little bit, but slowly it's going to start going back up because people are expecting this to get resolved. Climbs up, climbs up, climbs up. And then once the news is announced that the strike is over, they made a deal, what do y'all think happens? YouTube, Twitter, you guys can guess too. Can anyone tell me what they think is going to happen? I need one person here at least. There's enough of y'all in here to answer. Carrie, good. Anyone else? Falling. Right. It's a sell the news situation. Let's go to UPS. I don't remember when it was, but I know it was summer 2 years ago. So let's see here, 2022. So I think it was in this area here. Let's see here, June. So I think, okay, so May, I think this is when it was. Don't quote me if I'm wrong here, but I think the strike started getting announced kind of right after the earnings because they needed to pay the UPS guys more. The stock fell off. It took, 2 weeks of just sideways consolidation. The stock starts ripping, and I remember coming to my boss saying like, hey, this is kind of weird. Why is the stock going up if they haven't resolved anything? And he said, well, this might be a perfect time to sell the news. It could happen pretty quickly. If you guys want to go back and look at when the articles came out, that may help me, but I think I'm right because I know it's got to be like June, July, somewhere in here. Maybe it was here, actually. It looks like it was a big volume day. It's a big volume day in here as well. But Anyways, it was on one of these pops when the stock started pushing, and then that day that news actually came out around lunchtime, and I had already been short a little bit of it, and sure enough, it dropped like 2, 3, 4% in a matter of 10 minutes. That was your sell the news. People took profits, and the stock kind of didn't do anything after that. So I don't know if this is exactly where it happened, but I know it was around there somewhere. Anyways, so that's kind of what I'm thinking about on Boeing here. So back to my trade idea. Let's just go on a yearly chart here. I was waiting for this to make some sort of move under 160. I don't know, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. My trade was out of this consolidation here, right? I mean, this is almost a perfect box. From 170 to 160, we bounced around. Green day, red day, green day, red day, whatever. It ended up doing what I didn't want. I thought about trading this, but to me, it didn't line up that well. And honestly, there wasn't that much volume down. So whatever, that trade bounces up, and I just take Boeing off my watch list, whatever. A couple days go by, this comes right back down, sits at 170. Today, that news comes out, and look what day I traded it. I traded it a day when there was way, way, way above average volume. Right now, average volume is about 6 million a day. We traded almost 18 million volume today. So doesn't it make sense it makes sense for me to be involved on a day like today? Anyway, stock gaps down. I know there's something going on there, and there wasn't necessarily technical levels that I love so much. I mean, you look at like 162. Why does this dotted line make sense to me right here? Well, we bounced off around 162 here, 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 and here. So I'm like, okay, I mean, is it 162 perfectly? No. But this area, we break under that. Well, I think 160 probably makes more sense for it to go, at least go test, because back in here we made a low of 159.70. So we broke 160 by 30 cents. So okay, we got a negative catalyst here. We have two decent levels that we can kind of trade off of. If I can pick up $2-3 on Boeing and even look for a 160 break and maybe catch another 50 cents to $1, to me that's pretty high odds. If random news comes out and this bounces back up, great. There's nothing I can do about it. But I think that the odds are in the favor of this actually falling a little bit more. So my entry, I know, was kind of in this consolidation here, right at 162. I thought, okay, if I can get filled on a pop here, this came down to like 162.25, 162.50. If I can get filled, around 163, 163.50, I'm okay with that. If it bounces up to 164, to me, that's a little bit more ideal. But I'm going to take a stab at it. Bought a little bit here, still just super stagnant. I mean, you got to look at the volume down here. Massive sell-off, really low volume when this thing stopped moving. So instantly, that's going to tell me there's really not any aggressive buyers. We're right at a support. If people wanted to buy this and thought that the stock could actually recover, well, big money guys are going to start coming in here and buying 10,000, 50,000, 20,000, whatever, that many shares. But this thing stopped moving and there was actually no buying pressure. Maybe there were a couple people buying, but not real money, right? So that to me was like my first thought was, okay, there's not real volume coming in. This is a place where it could bounce. Even if it bounces to 164, that's not really a real bounce. I mean, this opened at 167 and even almost touched 170. We're down $7. Do I really want to chase this? Well, considering the levels we have below us, I think that kind of makes sense. So I started, buying a little bit here, bought a little bit more. I didn't have a big position by any means because I kind of wanted to see if this could just trickle down to 160, and that's what it did. However, that was pretty much my deciding factor. Low volume on the consolidation. Even if there was low volume on a little bit of a bounce, 164, like I said, I would still like the trade. And I would have rather a bounce up here. I probably would have bought a little bit more because I would have better pricing, risk about $1 and look for 4. It's a 1 to 4 trade. I'll take that. Anyways, bought a little bit more. 162 is that kind of key support I was looking at. We broke under it, started holding under it. Right? We never bounced and closed above 162. So we held under, drew my little trend line here, just a little baby bear flag, nothing too crazy. And sure enough, he broke that. Volume started spiking up. Kind of let this go. I sold one at like 160 and then sold the rest kind of right under here. I had a runner, I think, that I sold back above 160. But again, I took most of my position off under 160 around 159.50. Could I have held this for more? Sure. I did think 158 area was probably going to be where this thing would go to today. I thought 155 was way too much. So yeah, did I miss out on maybe like another dollar? Yeah, but this was already down 7% whenever I wanted to get involved. So does that make sense to everybody? I forgot who asked that. Jag, I think you did. Does that make sense? I know that I kind of elaborated on that a lot, but that that was all the things that I was thinking about, even considering this trade. Cool. What's up, Farouk? Yeah, for sure. I know I kind of went on to that for a little bit too long, but I want you guys to understand like what factors I'm putting into play and why I'm doing that. And again, Boeing's not something that I typically like to just jump on. But today was more so a day where I was like, this kind of makes sense. Like, the logic is there, the price levels are there, the price action is there. Yeah, it was a weak day in the market too. So I mean, if you can, kind of calculate that stuff and decide, well, all this stuff is lining up, and really once you get the hang of it, and you look at your 3 or 4 different little criterias, that you're going to consider, it doesn't take more than 5 seconds to really realize that, okay, this makes sense. Let's go. So I wanted Netflix today. I got, the price told me that wasn't going to happen within about 5-6 minutes. Instantly changed my focus. Came over here and made money on Boeing, which I love. I love trading Boeing whenever I can. It just doesn't offer a ton of opportunities. But, even now I look at it like, okay, well, this could be in play for another day or two, right? Because we're now at this 160 level that I wanted to play originally after this consolidation area, which we didn't get. So now we have this 160 key level, and we have today's low, 158.30. So I'm going to be watching both of those, because you go back here, we're at the lowest since I think April. April of this year, but we haven't been at this level since October of 2022. So I look at this thinking like, okay, I think the next level this goes to is 150. And then even just looking at the chart, I think 140 next, and then 120 next, and then 113 is the low from 2022, which was that the COVID low? Probably not. COVID low was 89. So this 120 to 110 level is pretty solid. But I mean, you look at this chart, I think there's room here, especially if there's just more negative stuff. And even with their earnings coming up, people may not want to be long this coming into their earnings. Yes, they've still gotten some contracts, with the government and whatnot to build more planes and stuff. I'm not going to be the guy who's going to dive into the balance sheets and all that stuff to see, okay, like, compare it to their contracts from 2-3 years ago, whatever, like pre-COVID, like whatever you want to look at. But my first guess is probably not going to do that well. I mean, does it mean you're going to do it absolutely terrible? No. It's Boeing. It's not going anywhere. But with how bad the news is right now, I mean, maybe a CEO leaves, maybe some other executives leave, maybe some big shareholders just like dump half their position, right? Half their stake. It's stuff like that could be talked about, which could rip this company down even more. But it's Boeing. Could Airbus kind of take them over? Sure. Could there be a merger? I don't know. It's not really what I pay attention to a lot, but the things that you should probably ask yourself. So it's big ideas broken down into little day trades, So that was it for me. What else you guys got? Oh, shoot. Airbus is another big airplane manufacturer, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm just kind of just talking around. Jag, I know. It seems a little dead in here, though. A little bit dead. YouTube, Twitter, y'all can ask questions too. Yeah, I mean, I have no idea, Farouk. That's just kind of me just coming up with things to say. What else we got here? Would you go long Meta? Sorry, NVIDIA. I mean, do I think NVIDIA is not going to go? Like, do I think NVIDIA is going to go to zero? Absolutely not. However, it didn't have a good day today. I don't know really what the news was. There actually wasn't. Actually, hang on, let's go on daily. There's a decent amount of volume today. We are, anywhere from like 110 to $100 a share. I don't want to be a short seller. Oh, antitrust thing. Okay. I don't want to be shorting it here just because I think that anywhere around $100, people tend to want to buy a stock, especially if it dips under $100. Just psychologically, they want to do that. However, I would probably want to be a buyer as low as 90. If this starts breaking 90 with some real volume and maybe some bad news or whatever, maybe this can go lower. I just don't really want to be a guy shorting NVIDIA right here from a technical standpoint. Could we have shorted it today and maybe made some money? Yeah, it just wasn't really on my radar to short this. It opened, above 115. That was a pretty decent support level. I just didn't really want to do it. But if I was forced to either buy or sell NVIDIA, I would buy it from a little bit longer term standpoint. What's my take on AMD? Yeah, Peter, NVIDIA may go to 92. We'll see. I would love to buy it down there. Okay, so AMD. To me, AMD is never that exciting. From what Shai says, it's more of like a story stock, meaning, you just need big catalysts to get this thing going. NVIDIA is obviously the biggest player. So I don't know. My take on AMD is I'm not super thrilled with wanting to trade it. I mean, I'm not surprised it had a pretty big red day today, considering NVIDIA did as well. I'm sure Micron did. I was surprised SMCI was actually green. Other than that, I mean, I don't really have much of a take. I'm not interested anywhere from a day trading perspective from 130 to 140 where we are now. I mean, maybe around 120, maybe around 130, under 130, I'd consider it. Other than that, it's not really something I would like to be involved in from a day trading perspective. It doesn't mean you can't buy it here and hold it for 3 months and it, goes down even more. I don't know. But I can only give you guys advice on, from the way that I think. Chag, really? NVIDIA AI VP moving to AMD. That's pretty crazy. How did I miss this news today? Huh. Yeah, all right. Yeah, that's pretty crazy. Yeah, Peter, for sure. What else you guys got? Zach, you got anything you want? Got some new guys in here. Castro, Sen, Cat Girl. What's up, TK? So we got the Beer Man and Beer Drinker in here. If you guys don't know how to type, you put your cursor over the free live stream channel that you clicked on, and you just click the little open chat bubble that pops up. Yeah, Zach, I agree. Ethan, do you think VIX will hit 20? So for VIX, well, I mean, we're already at 20. Typically, you get these spikes in VIX and then VIX ends up coming down. VIX is only up today because the market sold off. That's when VIX spikes. You see VIX spiked back in like late July, early August. Simply because we just had a pretty solid sell-off for a few days, right? We had that crazy crash. That wasn't really even a crash. So yeah, I mean, it spiked to 20, almost 22 and a half. I think VIX typically, if you can catch I don't suggest trading this at all, but as you can see from history here, you get the spikes in VIX and it typically comes down to under 15. Typically, it'll sit between 10 and 15. When it gets over 20, that shows volatility. And then when it gets above 30, 40, that's when things are getting crazy. So just keep those levels in mind. BOIL, what's that? Bloomberg Natural Gas. Natural gas isn't doing too good. Wow. What's your thought here, Zach? These specials, okay. I mean, this thing is at $9 and it used to be $2,800 a share, no splits. So buy it, close your eyes, set alerts at $500 a share plus, and then you could retire, maybe. Sorry. Anyone else? Swing of 10. Nice, dude. Well, I mean, eight to 10 is pretty solid. It's 25% move. So I mean, if you're only looking for that, then to me that makes sense. When I look at a stock like this that used to be really crazy, which makes sense considering COVID and all that happened. One, I think I don't want to touch it, but I don't know how to trade it. And two, I also think that buying this and just letting it and just waiting for some sort of big crazy move would make more sense to me. But I don't know. Average at 850 though, and looking for 10. Take it. Take the money and run. Have you been trading with me at all? Reddit looked decent last time I looked. Not sure how it went today. Let's see here. Reddit. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like to me, I'd be looking for something like this. Break of that, maybe some downside move under this, $52 and $50 level. I don't know that I love it to the upside here just because we're in the middle of this just yucky range. But who knows? I don't know. It depends on your trade idea. Look at Verizon. What are you doing with Verizon, Jens? Oh, I kind of like this. I don't know that I'd trade it, but from a technical standpoint, it makes sense to me. I mean, this is like a perfect breakout setup here. Above 43, look for 43.50. Above that, I think 45 is very doable. I mean, maybe even 50 with some time. I think that looks good. What makes you look at it, man? Do you want me to go into it more than that? I mean, besides it looks good from a technical standpoint that I would even consider trading it maybe. I like it. Yeah, I mean, to me, this isn't really something you could day trade. You could maybe, but yeah, to me, it looks more of like a swing setup. So I like that. I do like that from a swing standpoint. How'd you find that? Nice. Well, you guys got anything else for me? We got about 20 minutes left here, or we can call it early. This is a free lesson. I'm not really here to go over a specific topic, more so to answer questions and help you guys out. The specific topic lessons are more premium based stuff. So later, Farouk. Take care. Barry, you got anything? Mastermind, Sailor Brown, what's up? What's up? What's up? What are you looking for with Netflix tomorrow? Honestly, I'm not looking at it anymore. I don't want to trade it to the downside. I liked it to the upside. That was it. I wanted this all-time high break. That's to me what made most sense. I mean, could you argue that, well, Ethan, you were looking for a consolidation break to the upside. Why not look for it to the downside? I could, but that's not really what I want to do. To me, that's just not what makes sense from a risk to reward standpoint. I'm looking for a big all-time high break on Netflix, which you really haven't gotten. So maybe this hangs out for another day or two and slowly bounces back up to 700. Then we can get that trade, and I can promise you guys you're going to make a lot more than what you lost on that starter position today. So now my job is to just wait. Stop trying to time it. Don't try to buy a bottom. Let this get back up there if it's ready, and then we trade it there. To me, it's that simple. So for tomorrow, I'm not interested. Unless we gap up to 700 on good news, then I'm going to be all over it and probably be buying the first second the market opens. Netflix is something that I like to be very aggressive with because you have to be. That's why I even considered buying calls on the first green candle of the day, which you guys typically never see me do. What was the decision as far as getting the new job? There hasn't been a decision yet, Mastermind. I don't know yet, but we still got about 7 to 8 months until I graduate. And I'm going to have to make a decision then. The last thing I want to do is leave you guys, but we will see what happens. There's a couple things I need for me to stay. So without getting too far into it. Thoughts on Walmart? Yeah, Latvian. Latvian, check your DMs, bro. Leaving me on open. Thoughts on Walmart hitting highs? Should I wait for the dip to get back in? Sold my position for good profit, but still going up. Well, I mean, if you sold, you're never going to catch the top. Okay, you're never going to catch the entire trade. You're never going to be able to catch, buy the bottom and sell the top. That's what bad traders do. Okay, you don't want to try to predict where the absolute peak is going to be, because a lot of times you're going to hold through the peak and then it's going to roll over. Then you're going to lose, you're going to lose what you maybe were up. or whatever it is. So I would suggest not getting in here. I don't know where you bought originally, but you caught it. It looks like you probably caught a pretty decent move, and you just have to take it. Once you can kind of get that mindset away from wanting to catch the entire move and just look for the high odds, like middle part of the trade, that's where you're going to make the most money. You seem new, so when I intern at a trading floor, G2G, the very top guys who've done it for 30, 40 years, they'll say that you never want to be trying to pick a bottom or pick a top. You want to try to catch the middle part of the trade, because that's where you can put a lot of money towards it. You can actually make a lot of money. My whole job is to catch a middle part of a trade. That's it. I hate that I miss SMCI. The line. Yeah, we'll see what SMCI does. I think there's probably some more out there. No, Latvian, you're good. I'm just messing with you. But whenever you get a sec in the next day or two. Yeah, no, definitely not reconsidering school at all. I'm trying to graduate and get out of here, but it's either go work at a trading firm in Texas, the one I've interned at, or a job in New York that I was recently offered. I met with a bunch of New York family friends over the weekend, and a lot of them, they went to Penn State, Ivy League guys, and they're like, dude, if you want to be in the finance world, whether it's trading, private equity, whatever, and obviously, I'm going to do trading, you have to go where the money is, and you have to go, New York, Chicago, around there. Could I be successful in Austin or even Florida has some trading firms? Sure, but when you think of the stock market, what do you think of? So we'll see. I love Texas. I think I'm either going to live in a nice place in Texas or a shoebox in New York. But if I'm there for 2-3 years, from what I have been hearing, it's worth it to grind it out, meet the people, make the network there where the real big money is, and then move on. Yeah, I need to look into Charlotte too, Latvian. I forgot you said that. Yeah, Zach, maybe so. I may do SMB. So we'll see. But again, I don't want to leave you guys. I love doing this, but I need it to be worth my time, and right now it's not, to keep it very blunt with you. So we'll see. But I'm meeting with the boss man tomorrow. So we'll see. There's a lot of things in the works though, so something Latvian. Getting a little antsy. But we'll see. I know Quint will take care of me. And again, I would rather do this than work in an office, especially in the concrete jungle. But I got to look 5 years down the line, I think. Sir Nestle, what's your take on Apple? I know that they have an iPhone event coming September 9th, which is in 6 days. Pretty big sell-off today, like everything else did. Would I want to be a guy going short? Not necessarily. I think this could easily run back up to 230 pre-event, and then possibly sell off after the event. Yeah, that being true. Favorite Bob Marley song? I don't know. I Shot the Sheriff's pretty good. I like a lot of his stuff. Why don't be a full day trader? You can make more than working for someone. Well, I would honestly disagree, because I only have enough capital, and I'm only trading my own book. If I was invested in by someone and I was given, 500 grand, $1 million, yeah, then it would be worth being a full-time day trader for myself. However, if I go to a firm, I'd be given $1 to $5 million my first day. If I go to Austin, where the people know me in Texas, I think I'd get five. So think about Ethan going and trading $5 million, and I get to keep half the profits. So there's masterminds. So just put it into perspective for you. There's a lot of money out there in this world, in the trading world. So I got to go where that is. Yeah, true. And Stickman, that's the thing. It may take another couple years, but from the people that I talk to, they're like, either stay in Texas or go to New York for 2-3 years. Ideally 2, meet your people, and come back to Texas when that stock market's open. Yeah, Duco. Ideally, that's the thing, and maybe I can still teach at nights and stuff like that. But live trading, which is like my thing, would have to end obviously if I left, right? Yes, definitely, Chag. Yeah, no, Stickman, 100%. I mean, everyone's moving to Texas. Texas is a great spot, and Austin is a huge city now, right? You got, the comedy environment there is huge. I love comedy shows, right? You got Rogan there, Shane Gillis moved there, and overall, it's a good city. Yeah, I mean Lake Austin. I've seen Joe Rogan's house in person. I go with my friend on his boat on the lake, and you can see where his house is. It's pretty cool. So I don't know. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, true. Georgia's not bad. Yeah, Duco, I would don't say that in front of Farouk, but I can agree. Californians are moving here all the time. Yeah, true. I honestly I would too. I would say that to him, and then he'd argue you. But yeah, I'm excited for November with Farouk. When Let me look it up real quick. When is Kamala and Trump debating? Does anyone off the top of their head? September 15. ABC News announced last month the first debate will take place in Philadelphia at National Constitutional Center on Tuesday, September 10. That's going to be just amazing. I saw a random clip today that Kamala had like a speech in Pittsburgh and then like Detroit or something, and she like totally changed the way that she talked. She did the same speech but had like a southern accent in one of them. And I watched the clip, and I mean it was really weird. But hey, yeah, I saw Ducey. Ducey is awesome. His questions are like so sarcastic. But the press secretary freaking owns it. She just deflects everything. I mean, exceptionally. It's actually pretty crazy. Yeah. Trump was on Sean Ryan recently. I did see though that Trump has done like multiple hour and a half, 2 hour, 2.5 hour, 3 hour podcasts, which is pretty much like a speech almost, right? Unscripted, you know, edited to the point where like camera angles and stuff. And Kamala hasn't done any sort of interview, at all. Yeah, Sean has some good stuff. I learned a lot of hacking stuff from their guys. Stigman, did you watch Ryan Montgomery, the hacker, on PBD? That was a good one. I bought a bunch of hacking equipment when he first went on Sean Ryan. I slowly stopped doing that stuff, but I did some crazy stuff. Career, I don't think so. I shut down all of my classmates' phones and laptops one time, which is insane. But it's just nerd Ethan. What goes around comes around, though. So I slowly lost interest, but I do know how to do it. Right, Latvian. Nice, Tuco. UFO guy. Okay. I'll go back and watch it. Cool. Well, guys, I think I'm probably going to wrap it up unless you have anything else. No live trading tomorrow, but I'll be up. I have that early class tomorrow, though, so I'll only probably be here for like 15, 20 minutes, maybe 30. Cool. Yeah, me too. All right, guys. Well, y'all have a good rest of the night, and be smart tomorrow. Live trading again Thursday and Friday. I'll see you there. Yeah, Chris, seriously. I need Chris to watch this every day. All right, guys. Later.